Okay, live.
I'm live. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Week 5 recap, Week 6 preview. What a hell of a week, huh? This was a very,
It's
very,
crazy.
very high scoring fantasy week. Um, I've got the matchups from 5 pulled up right here, and just looking at the high scores on the week, we've got uh, 3 teams scored 170 or more, or 170. One scored almost 200, and one scored 249. Like that's unreal. So in like a normal week, 170 would have probably been our high score, but we had 5 teams score 170 or more this week. Like that's outrageous. I
Yep.
mean, we'll dive more into these matchups in a little bit, obviously, but like poor Ashley scored 171 points, right? Like she had, I think she was the fourth highest scorer this week, right?
Yep.
Which is already crazy, having 171 being the fourth highest score. But she got crushed with 171 points. She got crushed. She got blown out by almost 80 points. Like, how outrageous is that to score 170 and to just be blown out? Like, that's just
Heartbreaking.
insane. Yeah, absolutely heartbreaking. I mean, between our highest score and our lowest score this week was almost a 200-point differential. Like, that's
Yep.
wild. Uh, yeah, so Shannon, obviously, congratulations to her for probably putting up the most points anybody will score this entire season.
Yep.
And just 250 is absolutely insane. We'll talk more about her team shortly. But all around high scoring week, a lot of points scored this week. Um, Aside from Chris and Kate, everybody else had really respectable weeks too. Henry had 135, JT 142, I had 141. You had 139. Like we were all in that 130 to 140 range otherwise, which is still like pretty good week, honestly. But man, crazy week. So I finally lost. So I am no longer in first place. Just looking at the standings now, real quick. Shannon took first place as she well deserves after putting up 250 points. She now
Yep.
has a commanding lead on the points scored. She's ahead of Jimmy by
Crazy.
about 40 points scored. Jimmy's second with 809, and then after that it's Ashley down at 783, and then it's kind of a gap between her and kind of fourth highest scoring, which is appears to be Scott with 723. So yeah, Shannon's just really kind of cruising out in front right now, and I expect her to probably continue that lead. So, anyways, all right, let's jump into the
Yep.
matchups here. Let's start with I'll just talk about the main event here, Ashley and Shannon. Um, I mean, there's just so many freaking points in this game. It's unbelievable. Like Tom Brady, how about this? 5 passing touchdowns, 400 yards. Like,
I didn't even know he went off like that, to be honest.
I didn't know either. He's been so good this season. I mean, last week he scored 11 points, but every other week he scored just about 40 points or more.
Yes.
Like I was targeting him in the draft and I didn't get him. But obviously I wish I had. The rest of her team, was solid all around. Obviously, she put up 170 points. Kamara, Robinson, Hopkins all had good games. Nobody on her bench of note. But let's talk about Shannon's team. Since obviously Shannon was our high scorer and she absolutely crushed it. I mean, basically everybody in Shannon's lineup went off. So
Disgusting.
that's what you need to happen when you got 250 points. Is everybody's going to kind of hit at the same time. Dak
Mm.
Prescott had a good game. Devontae Adams, he had to be one of the highest scorers this
Gross.
week by far. 200 yards, touchdown, 11 catches. Like this is what you draft Devontae Adams
Feasted.
for right here. Is these games? These crazy high ceiling games. Antonio Brown had a good game. Like basically everybody on the team. Eckler, Andrews. Andrews went off last night. Man, how about that game? Whew,
That game was
whoo
crazy.
Man, what a comeback by the Ravens. Holy crap. And that's just like, that's what you draft Mark Andrews for, is those games where, you know what, he's red zone target in the middle of the field. Just, man, fourth quarter, the offense was just clicking. It looked so good.
Yep.
We'll talk a little bit more about some of those other guys later. So, again, Shannon's team just absolutely phenomenal. Balled out. If anybody beats 249 this season, I will be absolutely surprised. She had the high score 2 weeks in a row too. So 5 weeks in, only Shannon, Jimmy,
Scary.
and Ashley have gotten the weekly high score. So, um, you know,
Step it up, guys.
yep. The rest of us need to get our shit together. So, again, congrats, Shannon. Let's move on to Next matchup, we got Justin versus JT here. This was a close one.
I was tracking this one when it was happening.
Oh yeah, were you? So Justin
Yeah.
won 147 to JT's 142. Despite JT's record, 142 is a good game. Like JT had a
Yeah.
very very good game here. So looking at Justin real quick, Aaron Rodgers respectable. Mike Evans had a great game. Put up 45 points. He contributed to that with a couple touchdowns. Everybody else on his team was pretty good. Solid. No real dud performances. Gasecki 8 points, whatever. Diggs has been kind of disappointing this year.
Oh,
Um,
tell me about it.
for late first round draft capital, you expect more out of him, especially as good as he was last year. I'm not really sure what's going on there. The targets have largely been there for him. He's had double digit targets in 3 of the 5 weeks. It's just the yardage isn't coming. I'm not really sure. Funny enough, he has Sanders and Diggs, and Sanders is outscoring Diggs. So
Yep.
um, we'll see.
He's
We'll see
like
if that
30 something years old.
writes itself. Oh, that's Roy. Yeah, I know, right? He's old man, but he's going crazy.
Yep.
Looking at JT's team, Robert Woods. There was the Bobby Trees redemption game. We talked about this.
Loved it.
Yeah, finally back in the action here. Zeke had another solid game. Stafford solid. So, all around JT's team was pretty decent this week. Allen Robinson's still kind of a sore spot for his roster. Allen Robinson is just falling off the face of the planet for some
he's not a
reason.
must start anymore.
No, he's barely like a must roster at this point. He's honestly been
Yeah.
truly terrible. He's
Not
scored
his
double
fault.
digit points. No, it's not. It's really not. It's just the quarterback play, and but he's always had bad quarterback play. So I don't know. I don't know what's really different this season. But something's going on, and it's just Allen Robinson is just apparently not what you expected out of him for probably what was a third round draft, if I had to guess. Flex Naheem Hines, one point there in a game where the Colts actually scored some points. So
Yeah, that's what was crazy is that watching the game, I knew he had Naheem Hines, and it's like, all right, this dude is literally known for catching the ball, right? I mean, he's not really good on the ground, but most of his you can look at his thing. Most of his points is from the air. So
yeah,
the
yeah,
fact that he only didn't get a single catch,
right. I don't
that's
know
what
if he had any
mind.
targets, but yeah, not a single catch. It's kind of funny looking at the stat line real quick, not to dwell on Naheem Hines here because he doesn't matter, but 14 points week 1, 3 points week 2, 19 points week 3, 1 point last week, 1.8 points this week. So like you're either getting a pretty solid double digit RB2 week from Naheem Hines
Oh
or
no.
he's killing you. So but enough said about Naheem Hines. Moving on to the next game here. Let's talk about Henry and Scott. So Scott was one of our 170 scorers here. We'll start with Henry though, real quick. Just talk about his team. Henry continues to struggle in the absence of CMC, unfortunately. Although again, not a bad week. Like 136 is
Fine.
okay. You
Oh,
can win with 136. So all of his guys solid. Chuba Hubbard in CMC's absence had a pretty good game. Kareem Hunt, Alexander Madison, one of the best backups in the league. So that was a
yep.
good play by him, especially not being the Dalvin Cook owner. I don't remember who owns. Do you own Dalvin Cook?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I was gonna say you don't have Madison, so that always sucks. But you know
Henry,
what?
we
That's
brought.
okay.
He's got to fill that bench spot. He still has it.
Yep, he loves that empty bench spot. He loves it. I might have to. He probably doesn't watch these, so I'll probably have to text him and remind him that he has
Yeah.
an empty bench spot because he has no idea. I'm sure. Rest of his team. Okay, let's talk about Scott's team. Josh Allen, hell of a game from Josh Allen. 4 touchdowns
Dude
in this
is
game.
insane.
Yeah, he's good. He's very good. Gotta love that. 45 points. Nick Chubb, 32 points. Man, the running backs for freaking Kareem Hunt scored 26 and Chubb scored 32. I mean, what is that? 58 points between the two running backs. Like that's awesome. That's phenomenal.
Gross.
That's why they're the best running back duo. How about this? Hollywood Brown, 2 touchdowns. Welcome back, Hollywood. I
Yep.
mean, he was so
He
good
looked
last
good.
night. He looked really good. Like he was just making. He had a ton of yards after the catch. He was breaking tackles, stiff arming guys. You know, catching balls in the end zone. I'm really excited. This isn't really fantasy related, but
For
I'm excited
Bateman.
to see Bateman and
Oh
Hollywood
my
on the
god.
field at the same time, especially since our running backs are basically AARP members and they're so old and ancient and can't do anything. We can't run the ball
Yep.
right now. So Lamar obviously has to pass more, which just means good things for Hollywood and Bateman. So I'm really excited. Like I never have high hopes for rookie wide receivers, even though there's been many this season that have just gone
Jamar
crazy.
Chase, for
Jamar Chase,
example.
I mean, Devonta Smith's been okay. Kadarius Toney this past week, which I'm sure we'll talk about at some point. Rondale Moore's had his games. Like all of the rookie wide receivers have had their moments. Jamar Chase more than any of them, but so maybe Bateman can be that guy. I'm just excited to find out.
I
But
hope so.
Marquise best game of the season. Honestly, he's been really solid.
Yeah,
I don't remember what the stat is. I think I saw since week 11 of last season, he's just been like really consistent and good. Now he's had one bad game this season, and that was 2 weeks ago, and that was the game where he dropped like
3 touchdowns.
3 touchdowns effectively. I mean, that would have been probably potentially his best week. But he put up 8 points that game. Otherwise, he scored 19, 26, 19, and 36. Like
Yep,
that's wide receiver one borderline numbers right there. From a guy
he's
that probably drafted in what the 10th, 11th round. Like,
I don't think it was
maybe
that
you don't
far.
think it was that
He
far?
was. I thought it was like
Let's see, player history.
6 or 7.
He was drafted in the 10th round. It tells me in the player history.
Wow,
Yeah, 10th round by.
I'm shocked.
Yep,
Yeah, that's insane value.
that's phenomenal for a guy literally like wide receiver two with wide receiver one upside. Sign me up. Like that's such a good pick. On his bench, Claypool and Callaway had good games. Claypool, he'll have these games on occasion.
Hey, no
Juju,
Juju
yeah,
now.
no Juju probably helps him. Although I think it helps Deontay and Najee more than Claypool. But um, you know, good game from those guys. He won 172 without those guys. If he had put,
Chanel.
yeah, instead of Chanel. I mean, I'm not saying he made the wrong calls here. It's just kind of speculating as to what he could have scored here.
Yeah.
Bad game from Thielen. Okay, let's move on to the next matchup here, which was Jimmy and Kate. I think we need to have like a candlelit vigil for Kate's team or something because
Yeah.
they got absolutely decimated this week by injuries. I mean, let's just talk about this real quick. Russell Wilson goes down Thursday night game. He's going to be out for like probably 6+ weeks potentially with a sprained finger, but it's not really sprained. It's like apparently they had to basically like reattach the tendon to the muscle because like it had disconnected and he couldn't bend that finger. Like it's so weird to think about. But so he's going to be out for a while. He's going to go on IR if he hasn't already. Juju Smith-Schuster injured his shoulder so badly that the reports were confusing. It said he had it, and then all of a sudden it was like, oh wait, no, he hasn't had the surgery yet, but he's going to have the surgery. I don't know if he's had it at this point, but basically the expectation is once he has it, he's going to miss the season. So,
Yep.
you know what though, is it a huge loss? I mean, it sucks, but look, his best game of the season was week 2 when he scored 16 points. Otherwise, he's been single digits every week. Like, you're not losing a ton of production there. Honestly,
Yeah.
it just bodes well for what we talked about Deontay, Najee, and possibly Claypool. So, but it sucks for Kate, losing a starter still. Saquon, freak accident here. People are going to say he's injury prone, but this was just kind of like really a freak thing. He rolled his ankle, kind of got it stepped on. It wasn't like a non-contact thing. It was a very, very heavy contact thing. So that sucks. Travis Kelce has a Q here. I think I saw he just got probably a little stinger. I'm not worried about him. Kenny Galladay, hyperextended his knee. That's right. So I think expectation is Kenny's going to be fine. He might miss a week at most. Barkley probably a week or two at most too. So thankfully, Wilson and Juju are the only long-term injuries here, but still, that's 4 of her starters in a single week just gone. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, I mean, Galladay, Gooster, Barkley gave her less than a point. Juju gave her less than a point. Wilson put up 12 points. So this, she has the lowest score of the season so far, 55 points here, and got absolutely decimated by Jimmy here, who put up 197 freaking points. Like, we'll talk about his team in a second because we skipped over him, but I just quickly want to continue my victory lapping about Devin Singletary and how he's worthless because for the 3rd straight week, after being pretty decent in weeks 1 and 2, he has scored single digits for 3 weeks straight. So he is what I expected. Kate also rostering 4 quarterbacks. Her and I talked about this today.
Just want to point that out.
Yeah, so she knew she lost Russell. She was making some depth picks there, so I'm sure she'll trim that. I'm holding 3 quarterbacks myself, so I currently understand the dilemma. All right, let's talk about Jimmy's freaking dominating team. How about Lamar Jackson? You know this guy, Lamar?
No.
So he's pretty good. And I love
yeah,
he's okay. It's so funny because like there's people around the league when you read this stuff. Like I go on Reddit all the time and I read all the NFL stuff and the team subreddits and stuff. And there's so many people out there around the league who think Lamar Jackson's trash and they think he's a running back and they think he can't pass the ball and they think he's garbage. And like, so Lamar goes out, throws for the most yards he's ever thrown for, 442 yards. Throws
It's
for
a franchise record.
gets the Ravens franchise record. He sets the NFL record for being the first quarterback to throw for over 400 yards while having, I think, an 85% or better completion rate because he threw for like 37 of 43 passes, right? He only had 6 incompletions the entire game. So sets an NFL record, puts up 400 yards, 4 touchdowns, 60 yards on the ground. He had over 500 yards of offense, himself in this game. Like, he's just so freaking talented. And it makes me so mad when I read all these like people out there who are like, "Oh, he's garbage. He can't pass."
Haters.
If you shut down the run, he's gonna fail. Well, that's what they did. The Colts shut down the run game in this game, and he threw for 400 yards.
Yep.
Like I get the Colts secondary was banged up, whatever. Ravens have injuries too, so it's just phenomenal how good he was in this game. It's so fun watching him play too because he's just he's just so talented. It's amazing. I don't know if I would love to get to the Super Bowl with Lamar Jackson because I think he deserves it more than just about anybody else.
Agreed.
So, anyways, Mike Williams, Derrick Henry. Mike Williams has just been just on fire this season. It really sucks for anybody who drafted Keenan because Mike Williams appears to have taken over the number 1 spot out of nowhere, seemingly. Like Mike Williams has always been talented. I've grabbed him late in drafts in prior years.
He's always injured.
He was always injured, and even then, like when he was healthy, his target volume was low, and that was with Phillip Rivers for the most part. But now he's just all of a sudden 16 targets in this game, 2 touchdowns, 165 yards. Like, damn.
You think it's a Brandon Staley thing?
Maybe.
Coach?
It could be. It could very well be. Whatever it is, it's not like Mike Williams is not talented, right? Because he's always that's never been in doubt. It was just a matter of like getting him involved, keeping him healthy, and man, so far he's killing it. Last week he had a down week with 2 points. It's so funny looking at his stat line: 22, 22, 36, 2 points, and then 44. So
love it.
Absolutely wild. Justin Jefferson with a solid game too. Derrick Henry, of course, just killing it.
Such a cheat code.
Yeah, Derrick Henry is the Christian McCaffrey of this year. Yeah, I mean, like he's just phenomenal. He just carries the ball so much. He had 3 touchdowns in this game. Like, what more can you say here?
Crazy.
The rest of Jimmy's team really didn't. Melvin Gordon, we have him in our league. He disappoints more often than not. Darren Waller's been kind of low these past few weeks, and still Jimmy put up almost 200 points. So if it wasn't for Shannon's just freaking outrageous week, he would have been our high scorer. So he started Sammy Watkins here. How about that, Jimmy? He started Sammy.
Then he got injured.
So I'm trying to trade for Jalen Hurts here, just as a little side note. And Jimmy, of course, doesn't want to give him up because he is an idiot. So, all right, we covered Kate's poor team. Yeah, we'll just move on from that. All right, let's talk about you and Chris. You kind of gave Chris a spanking here, beat him out by about 50 points.
But had a lot of bad players this week, that's for sure. A lot of busts.
Yeah. Marvin Jones. Damian Harris took a shot in this game, so he got injured. Not too worried about that. Marvin Jones, definitely, kind of a weird anomaly there.
Yep.
Chenault and Marvin Jones both disappointed this week. Cordell Patterson got hurt in this game, didn't he? But he got you a couple touchdowns before that happened.
No, he was good.
Or no touchdowns, but a couple points.
He went to the concussion protocol, but he came back.
Oh, okay. All right. A.J. Brown continued to disappoint for both of us here. Apparently on the snap count, so hopefully he trends up. Justin Herbert was really the star of the show here. 5 touchdowns, 400 yards. Basically, him, Brady, and Lamar all had 50-point weeks this week. I think it was Lamar, Brady, and then Herbert. Just absolutely crushing it. So, love to see that. You guys did well enough to get a dub. That's all that matters here.
That's all I care about.
So, let's talk about Chris's team. Real quick. Oh, yeah, sorry. You had Gaskin on your bench blow up.
So random.
Yeah, I mean, against Tampa Bay.
Catches.
Yeah, I guess it makes sense because, all the other pass catchers there are hurt. So, it's, basically Gaskin and Gesicki. But I would not have said, hey, you think Miles Gaskin's going to score 32 points against Tampa Bay this week? I would have
Wouldn't even
laughed.
told you 10 points.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, you'll start him next week and he'll do nothing. So, all right, Chris's team here. So Chris still struggling. Scored 92 in this game. A lot of his guys just really doing nothing. A lot of single digits there. But I will say I've noticed he's been making some moves, and some of these moves have
Yep.
been pretty solid. Um, he picked up Kadarius Toney, who I kind of wanted to share. We have him in our shared league, but I wanted him in a league as well of my own. He snagged him, which was great. I
Should
think
have started
Kadarius
him.
Toney. Yeah, well, right, he should have. I probably would have started him over.
Randall Cobb.
Yeah, probably over
Me
Randall
personally, I would
Cobb.
have.
Yeah, I mean it's tough because he was chasing the points from the prior week on Randall Cobb, so I get it. Um, but yeah, Kadarius Toney just had a solid opportunity with Shepard still being gone, Slayton being gone. Saquon. So going forward, looking at the Giants' offense, you have Shepard and Slayton are going to come back, but Galladay's going to be out. Saquon's going to be out. Like I still think Kadarius Toney is going to be solid, and he proved in this game. He could have. I think he would have had over 200 yards if he didn't get ejected. So
Oh yeah,
he would have had an even
100%.
bigger day if he didn't kind of screw himself over. So I think that's a good pickup. He picked up Dawson Knox, who obviously has been phenomenal.
Yeah,
So
me
he's
too. Love it.
making moves to improve his team, which is great.
Yep.
Mixon played in this game. If Mixon gets healthy and can go back to putting up maybe 20-ish points a game, then that'll be good. So he's okay.
He needs his Chris Carson back as well.
Yeah, Chris Carson's got to come back for him, and hopefully that can happen sooner rather than later. Marlon Mack, potentially gets traded somewhere. Maybe he's of use. He looked pretty good last night, I thought. They fed him the ball, 10 times? Only 5 times. So he had 5 carries, and a bunch of those carries were pretty explosive. He had 47 yards on those 5 carries. I mean, that's a solid stat line. Had a catch for 7 yards, too. So,
Yeah, but the Ravens look terrible at stopping the run. They look
yeah,
really
they
bad.
do. Yeah, I mean, our defense in general doesn't look good, but I just think Marlon Mack still has a little juice in the tank. So I think wherever he goes, he could potentially be a viable asset. So if I'm Chris, I think I continue to hold on to Mac. I think he's got to dump Chark. I mean, Chark's just in his IR slot, but he could stick Fuller in his IR slot, get rid of Chark, free up another bench spot, by moving Fuller
Yep.
down. So that's, I think, the play that he needs to do now. Not that, I'm not sure who he could pick up, Daryl Williams or bless you.
Oh, there's plenty of people.
Yeah, I mean, there's guys that are out there. So all right, so moving on. I like Chris's moves. Let's talk about my team here.
Mm,
I took my first L, long overdue in my opinion, because my team has not really been deserving of undefeated status. Started Daniel Jones. I was torn between Daniel Jones and Lance and Tannehill, and obviously I picked the worst of the three. Although all three were pretty much garbage, so
yeah.
didn't matter. It wouldn't have saved my week. So Lockett, you and I talked about, super disappointing because the game was so freaking. He could have had a 40-point game.
Yep.
Jonathan Taylor finally had like a really good game. Of course, like you said,
Monsters.
against Baltimore. Basically opened the game with a 79-yard catch and touchdown or whatever.
Yep.
So my running backs are doing pretty decently. Can't complain too much about that. Everybody else is just kind of mediocre, middle of the pack. So, um, I got some moves to make this week. I really need a quarterback. Like that's what I need. Somebody trade me. I was trying to get Jimmy's freaking backup quarterback. Like, give me your backup quarterback. I will give you somebody worth starting. Like, freaking Jimmy's the worst. All right, Melissa, one of our 170-point scorers here. Kyler Murray dud game. Tyreek dud game. But hey, man, Sutton, Harris, Pitts, and Chase. How about this game for Kyle Pitts? Um,
Yep.
you know, it only took Calvin Ridley and
Finally.
Russell Gage being out, but Kyle Pitts finally had his blow up game. Jamar Chase went absolutely nuclear in this game as well. Um, Najee's been so good. Like since week one, Najee's been basically 20 points or more every week.
Yeah.
He's getting the targets, he's getting the volume. Even on a Pittsburgh offense that doesn't look that great, he still was just kind of he's just cruising along. He's probably a top 5 running back on the season if I had to guess. Um, Cortland Sutton had a good game. So all around, everybody on our team was pretty good. Even the guys who kind of let down, still solid. So all right, I think we covered.
Yep.
All the matchups there. So Let's move on to the preview. Yeah.
Yeah. Who's your first?
We'll go Ashley and Jimmy. Oh man, a little bit of a two of our high scorers here. Oh man, that's right. So week 5 or week 6 is the start of the
Bye
bye
starting.
weeks. Yeah, which
Yep.
sucks. I'm trying to personally plan around a week 9 bye in which 2 of my running backs are both out, which sucks. I hate that situation. Like, you don't want to do anything too drastic for a single week, but it really does hurt when you lose 2 starters, 2 buys.
Yeah.
Um, okay, so she's got Kamara out. Let's just kind of recreate her roster here. She can put Edmonds up or Zach. Actually, Zach Moss has been pretty good.
I literally was just clicking on him. He's at a good floor,
Yeah,
so
he has because he's the goal line back. So even though his volume's low, it's probably equivalent to Devin Singletary's. The fact that he gets those goal line carries makes him more valuable. So
yeah.
Chase Edmonds had a bad week last week. They're playing Cleveland this week. I would probably still start Edmonds over Zach Moss personally, but I think you can't go wrong with either there. Um, so looking at Jimmy's lineup real quick, Lamar against the Chargers. That could be another good game. Derrick Henry against Buffalo. We'll see. I have a feeling this will probably be one of Derrick Henry's worst games. I don't expect at least a monster game out of him. I guess it depends. Mike Williams against Baltimore is a little scary with how banged up our defense is.
Yep.
Uh, Justin Jefferson against Carolina isn't too scary. I kind of like Ashley's team a little bit more this week, honestly, even with Kamara on bye and kind of factoring in starting like I guess that's the thing. If she moves Edmonds up, she still has to flex somebody. I should guess Jacoby Myers is the play. Unfortunately, yeah, I still kind of want to give this one to Ashley. I just like some of her matchups more. But Jimmy's team's been really good. I mean, he's the number 2 scorer, so I would not be surprised if he won. What are your thoughts here?
Mm. Uh, I don't know. Just Mike Williams upside. I mean, he has again. We've seen it. His upside is
Yeah,
just ridiculous.
yeah. The ceiling's absolutely crazy for all of his players, but I just feel like if there's gonna be, I mean, outside of Lamar and maybe Mike Williams, I feel like a lot of his guys have pretty poor matchups this week.
I feel like
Um,
Jefferson does fine.
yeah, I mean Carolina defense has been pretty good, but yeah, he'll still be fine. He'll still have a
Well, they just lost to the Eagles, and Hurts was playing terrible, so
yeah. I
that
mean
didn't
that's
look good.
true. That's true. So we'll see. Um, Jimmy probably gets it done, but I'm gonna pick the underdog here in Ashley. Um, all right, let's go on to what's our next matchup here?
Is it Justin and Melissa?
It is. All right, here. Let's see. Rodgers and Jones against Chicago. I definitely expect a bounce back week from Murray and Tyreek. Najee against Seattle should be pretty good for Melissa. I don't love Zach Ertz at tight end, but he's fine. Um, Justin's team, Justin's got pretty high upside too with Diggs, Evans, Aaron Jones. Miles Sanders against Tampa Bay. Homeboy could
He,
have like negative points, honestly, in this game. I know he had 10 points this
oof,
past game, but like that's a tough matchup. If he gets involved in the passing game, then it's a different story. But if they're just gonna use him to pound the ball, he's gonna get single digit points for sure. So I don't
yeah,
know here. I think I lean Melissa's team. I think her team's been pretty good. I think her upside's a little bit higher this week. Jamar Chase against Detroit. I think that should be kind of nasty. Um, you know, Sutton against
mm,
Vegas, Najee against Seattle, Tyreek and Kyler
yeah.
Murray bounce
I'll
back.
go Melissa here.
Yeah, but I don't expect a bad game from Justin. Uh, so we shall see. Let's move on to next matchup, which
JT and
is
Shannon. Oh God.
yeah.
Woo!
Yeah. All right.
Well,
Sorry, JT.
yeah. Is
So
this even
sorry.
worth
And it's
discussing?
actually, it's not to disparage JT's team here because like I said, I think the past 2 weeks it's been much improved. It's just Shannon's the number 1 scorer, and rightfully so, right? I mean, you look at her team. Dak Prescott's killing it. Devontae Adams. I mean, Antonio Brown's only projected for 12 points, but he could do a lot better than that. Eckler is the number 2 running back on the season behind Derrick Henry. And when you look at his stat lines, it makes sense. She's got Kenyon Drake in. Is she somebody else on bye? Mike Davis is on bye. Debo's on bye. Okay. So she's actually a little bit hampered here. No Debo this week does impede her a little bit. Having to start Kenyon Drake is a scary proposition. So I like the Fournette play against Philly. I like T Higgins against Detroit. So a lot of her guys still should be fine. On the flip side, Robert Woods, if he can do what he did last week, then so be it. Allen Robinson, we've got 5 weeks now, 5-week sample size of just nothing but disappointment. So you can't really expect anything more from him at this point. Zeke against New England, not a great matchup, but I don't expect anything too terrible from him. I still lean Shannon here, despite having to play Kenyon Drake.
Yeah, I do too, without a doubt.
But again, I don't expect a double-digit week from JT. I think he still hits probably 120, 130. So okay, next matchup is I think I skipped over one.
Kate and Chris. Oh God, the battle of the lowest scores.
Oh yeah. Yeah, how about that? Okay.
Obviously, not Kate's fault.
Now look at these guys. They're both projected for under 100.
Well, Kate has 2 players.
Oh yeah, that's true. And Chris does one. So, okay, so let's construct these guys lineups for them. Because they both need some help. Kate probably actually more so than Chris at this point.
Kate
just because
needs waiver wire help.
Yeah, she does.
Nobody.
So who do you play based on her 4 quarterbacks right now? Also, I say this from experience. The waiver wire quarterbacks out there right now are absolute hot, wet, smelly garbage. Because it's like Derek Carr, Jimmy G. Do you want maybe like
Big Ben?
Yeah, Big Ben, exactly. Zach Wilson. Oh boy, Jared Goff, sign me up. Like they are trash. So, having said that, she's not going to go and pick up somebody that's like worth starting. Who she has is her options at quarterback: Heineke, Mayfield,
Baker,
Winston, and that's it.
Winston's on bye.
Winston's on bye. So Baker or Heineke. I go Heineke personally. I think Baker's just been like Baker reminds me of like Joe Flacco. I don't know if you played fantasy when Joe Flacco was a quarterback, but here's the thing: you never played Joe Flacco in fantasy ever. Like ever. He was the most boring, plain Jane quarterback you could possibly ever roster in fantasy. He had 1 week out of the whole season where he'd get you like 20 to 30 points, like an actual good game. And the rest of the time, he was like 15 points. You didn't want to start Joe Flacco. That's how I feel about Baker Mayfield. I don't want to start him like ever. I know he just had a good game. His first game, basically over 20 points all season, was this past week against the Chargers. And that was a game they put up 42 points, and he scored 30. Yeah. 42 points, and he scored 30. I mean, think about Lamar. We scored 31 in overtime. He had 57 points or whatever, right? So Baker might be a decent NFL quarterback, but he is not a good fantasy quarterback. So given that,
I would go Heineke.
You got to go Heineke. I think Heineke had a bad week, but so far he's actually been pretty good against Kansas City. Kansas City defense has been doo-doo. So I go Heineke there. Amari's in, Waddle's in play, Singletary against Tennessee. I think Tennessee's actually been pretty good against the run, from what I've heard. Defense in general is not good, but I think against the run they're pretty good. I think I will continue to victory lap my call that Devin Singletary is going to get single-digit points, and I expect that from him this week. So she can't really help that. David Johnson, she's got to start David Johnson. That's probably an area where she could go out and get somebody, Darrell Williams or Devontae Booker. She's the kind of person that needs those guys, these potential few-week rentals. She needs to go out and spend on one of those people. Because if you have to rely on David Johnson in your lineup or Devin Singletary as your starting running backs, your week's over. It's just over right from the start. I don't care who the rest of your team is. You can't do it with those guys. Kels is fine. Juju and Galladay obviously are going to go. So who we slotting in here for Juju and Galladay, Chad? Who's going in the lineup? Because She has nobody, literally nobody. Like, not just like
Yeah.
her team's trash. She has nobody on her bench that she can slot into those spots. She has Barkley, who's out, Goddard, who's out with COVID right now, and since that's a Thursday night game, she pointed this out earlier. He's probably not going to play, right? So
Nope.
that leaves quarterback, defense, quarterback. She literally doesn't have two people to play. So
Yep.
she's going to have to, she's got an empty slot. She's going to have to pick up somebody there. She's going to have to drop probably two of these quarterbacks. She can
Yeah.
put Russell Wilson, she does have in the IR slot now, which is good. Got to drop the second defense. Can't carry second defense when you have this many injuries. Can't carry this many quarterbacks
You
either.
don't. Yeah.
And really probably can't carry. There's no point to carry Goddard either. Honestly, when you've got Kels, you're never. Goddard is never going to be a better flex option than probably most other players out there. So,
Eh.
you know, I mean, I guess he
I
scored
keep
double
him.
digits a couple weeks, but yeah, I mean, okay, of the people, you're right. I would hold on to him because there's probably not a whole lot better on the wire, but like, got 3 or 4 of these people have got to go, Cleveland included. So, that's what she needs to do. And she could probably string together a win against Chris this week if she does that. If she makes the right waiver wire moves, she could win.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about Chris real quick. I would love to trade Chris for Mahomes. I would love to. I just need to figure out how to make that happen.
He needs a lot. So.
Yeah, I would. I've toyed with some stuff, but I haven't sent any offers yet. Ayuk obviously is going to get switched out for probably Kadarius Toney. Mixing against Detroit is going to be good. So you figure, just redoing his lineup for him here. I think what happens is Ayuk comes out, Randall Cobb comes out, Kadarius Toney goes in. I probably move
Tim Patrick up.
Tim Patrick up exactly. Mixon goes in. And I lost track of the pieces there, but I think that more or less covers it. If he needs another person to start, if Carson plays, obviously Carson can go in for somebody. If he can get rid of Tanyan and just start
Put
Dawson Knox
Yeah.
instead, that would be ideal, and switch out his defense. So actually, based on who he has on his bench, I think Kate has to make some really good waiver wire pickups, or she's done. Chris, on the other hand, has pieces on his bench that can help him win this week. So
Yeah. Agreed.
I'm going to give it to Chris. That was a whole lot of nothing to basically just say Chris is my go-to here. All right, so let's talk about. Are we to you now? You and
Henry.
You and Henry. Yep. Oof. Henry must have a lot of bye people because he's projected for 90 points here. All right, he's got a couple empty slots here. Let's see what's going on. Darnold been had a do week after being pretty good. Do they expect McCaffrey this week?
I think so.
Yeah, he was close,
I
to
think
playing
he's
this last week. So
expected.
yeah, okay. So McCaffrey will go in for Hubbard. Hunt's obviously in. Godwin's in. Keenan Allen's in. So that still leaves basically 2 empty slots here. Clyde's out. It sucks. I mean, he's got.
You probably flex Devontae Smith.
Well, yeah, definitely. You definitely get Devonta Smith back in, especially since Tampa Bay can be beat through the air. Basically, can only be beat through the air.
So then he has 2 flexes then.
Yeah, he's got to get 2 people off
running
his bench
back and a flex.
Yeah.
That's waiver wire.
Yeah.
I mean, if Cook doesn't play,
then Madison.
plug in Madison.
Sure. Yeah.
But I think Cook might play.
I agree with that. So he probably does have to make some waiver wire moves.
By?
He's probably got to clear out at least one of his quarterbacks here. Probably drop Darnold. Okay, let's look at your team. Yeah, you got Herbert in, locked and loaded. Cooper Kupp, hoping for a bounce back from him. Terry McLaurin, same deal. Damian Harris against Dallas. Dallas has been pretty good, but you hope for good things. Dalvin Cook, after a couple weeks sort of a rest, you kind of hope that he's back to full form too. Honestly, I think this is the last season Dalvin Cook's relevant. Personally,
Yeah.
I think he's just getting too beat up at this point, and Madison is proving
physical.
that. When you have Madison as backup, it's just hard to keep pounding the ball with Dalvin Cook over and over when you have somebody else that can kind of spell him. Dalton Schultz, excellent. AJ Brown apparently going to be more involved this week, or that's the hope. So against Buffalo, they're going to need to throw it. I'm sure. So let's hope he can get to his projection and beyond, ideally.
Yeah. Oh my
Damian
god.
Williams, solid pickup there. I got to give it to your team. Obviously, you just have far
Yeah.
more solid starters, no question about it. Henry's got to make some moves this week. Um, all right, so
Well, this one's you.
last one's me. I don't even know who I play this week. Oh,
Scott.
Scott. Okay. And his team's been pretty good. He's got a bunch of points. I think he's third in points behind or
Third or
fourth.
fourth.
He was probably fourth. I think he's third and head of Ashley. Um, I could be mistaken about that. I got to figure out my quarterback situation. I've got Tannehill in right now. I don't know if I'm going to keep it that way because he's just been not good either. You got to clean up my quarterbacks here since I'm rostering 3, and I do not like that. Probably get rid of Jones and honestly maybe Lance. I just don't know if Lance is going to be what I hoped he would be. Maybe later. I don't know.
Oh. You talking about your team or his team
My
first?
my team. I was just looking at my
Okay.
guys. Yeah, I'm not going to really change my lineup here. Deontay without Juju. I expect better things against Seattle. All my guys I feel like have pretty decent matchups. Jonathan Taylor against Houston. I am hoping for a repeat of last night because he should feast against Houston. Like he should absolutely dominate. I'm also kind of hoping that he gets traded, or not he, Mac gets traded the next couple days because that's what they've been doing in my opinion. The Colts have been auditioning Mac for a trade. That to me is what is happening, which has been, it's been taking carries and opportunities away from Jonathan Taylor. So, um, Jonathan Taylor still had probably roughly.
You still starting Lockett over Pittman?
Um,
Because Pittman's versus Houston too.
Honestly, I'm gonna give that one some thought. Against Pittsburgh, if it wasn't Pittsburgh, I might be a little more tempted to leave Lockett in because I still think Lockett's gonna be fine with Geno Smith. I'm not really too worried about that.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I'll think about that one. I'm not touching the rest of my lineup except for probably my defense, which I got to figure that out. Otherwise, I'm
Yep.
okay with it. So let's talk about Scott's team here. Josh Allen against Tennessee should be just amazing. Metcalf, we just kind of talked about that. I don't expect, again, I'm not expecting a huge regression from Metcalf or Lockett just because Geno Smith's out there, even though obviously he's a far worse quarterback than Russell Wilson. But I just think these guys are too good to not be involved.
Yeah.
Thielen, I expect a better game. Chubb will be fine. Kenneth Gainwell, I think he's got to get Marquise in his lineup. So I think
That's exactly.
the problem is though, so Kenneth Gainwell is currently a second running back. So Elijah Mitchell's on a bye. David Montgomery's injured. So he has no other running back options. Now, if he goes and picks somebody up off the waiver wire, then so be it. Um, but I don't think you want to start Kenneth Gainwell against Tampa Bay, do you? I sure as
No.
shit don't. So that one's
I mean,
tough.
this is where I drop Mac Jones. I try to get another running back, and you
Yeah.
definitely put Marquise Brown over Chenault.
Yep, 100%. Yeah, you get Chenault out of there. I mean, Marquise has just been too good. I don't think. I think Marquise is an every week starter right now.
Oh, easily.
Again, since he's been so good since week 11 of last year. I mean, we're talking about a ton of games. So, not having him in the lineup is going to be killer. So I expect he'll make some moves and get that rearranged. Um, I think I like my team more. I got some pretty good matchups. None of my guys are on bye, so
Yeah.
if Tannehill can be okay, then I think I'll be fine.
Thielen's just becoming touchdown dependent, and I don't like it.
Yeah, he's getting phased out a little bit of this offense. With Justin Jefferson as the clear one now, and Kirk
Yeah.
Cousins, the passing volume's been low. He's been kind of disappointing the past 2 weeks too. So I think with Kirk Cousins is disappointing. I think Thielen will be disappointing. I think Justin Jefferson can still be good without Kirk Cousins being good though. So yep, I'll give it to myself here. All right. So that takes care of the previews. We've done the recaps. All right. Let's see. Let me go back to the standings here. All right. Let me go to my week 5 matchups here.
Week
Who
6.
who scores the most points this week?
Shannon.
Yeah. I actually think my team is poised for what should be its best week. Now, whether that happens or not, because my team actually, it hasn't been terrible. Like I'm 4th or 5th in points scored. Like I'm not like way down at the bottom or anything, but um, I think I'm due for a decent game. So I still probably would vote Sheenan, maybe even Jimmy. But I do like my team this week a lot. Actually, in fact, based on the projections, I am projected for the most. Not that I put really much weight in that. Um, who scores the least?
I mean, it's either Kate or Chris.
Yeah,
Probably. I mean, Kate probably.
yeah. I mean, Kate's just too. She just got wrecked. I mean, to be
It's just
quite frank,
unlucky.
she just like so unlucky. I mean, to lose four starting players in a single week. I mean, literally, Russell Wilson, Saquon, Galladay, and the fourth, whose name I'm forgetting. But like, that's a ton of talent to lose in 1 week. Like, it's just unreal. So definitely Kate there. Um, let's see. What were the things we went over last week? I'm trying to remember some of them.
I think one was like the biggest upset.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like the underdog comeback.
Yeah,
Um,
I'd say. Would you say Ashley?
yeah, yeah. If she's the underdog right now, I would pick her for sure. Um, yeah, let's see.
we,
Uh,
we need to come up with questions before we do this next
yeah.
time.
Well, actually, here I have some. I can ask you something about my lineup too. Would you rather have Gibson or I may have asked the same one last week. Gibson or Mixon the rest of the season?
Oh, Gibson. I told you I hate Mixon. I'll choose anyone
Yeah,
over
that's true.
Mixon.
Would you rather have Gibson or Swift the rest of the season?
Swift.
Taylor or Swift?
Probably Taylor.
Okay. Um,
Riley, move.
Lockett or Pittman? I'm just going off my own team here.
Man, if he wasn't so boom or bust, it's the problem with Tyler Lockett. Let me see Pittman's. He's at a decent floor.
Yeah, he has. And Carson Wentz looked pretty good yesterday, in all honesty.
Yeah, I'd probably still say Lockett. Those
Yeah,
big games are.
I agree. I was trying to trade for Lockett actually after the other night in the other league. Um, I don't like having too many shares of one player, but I do like
Yeah,
buying low when I can. So, all right. Well, I think that's good.
yeah, we'll come up with more.
Yeah. Just thinking. Okay. All right. All right. Well, good luck everybody this week. Again, make sure you switch out your buy people. Um, get your starters in there. Waivers clear tomorrow morning, bright and early. And we'll see y'all next week.
Yep. See you guys.
Peace.